So good evening. Here we are again. So make some noise with Doug Dejong. So it's only been a few days since I've had a new TV show name, but tonight we have someone really, really cool that's across the ditch. I can't really say it with a different accent. He's an awesome guitar player and he's going to tell us all about what he's been doing. In short, this guy is a legend. He's actually recovered from leukemia. So this is extremely serious. So this is not something that happens every day. So he has to change his lifestyle and turn himself upside down to follow the passion to keep the art alive. So here we go. We're going to cross over to Chris right now. So how you going, Chris? You want to introduce yourself, Chris?
Hey guys, it's Chris Barclay here, all the way from little old Auckland, New Zealand. How you going?
Yeah, good. Well, I'm going good. And so you want to tell us a little bit about, what you recovered from before we talk about the music?
Yeah. Well, I feel like a little bit of an imposter because I got a little bit sick in 2001. I was just a young fella. I was about 25, and I got a little bit caught with the flu. And then I got some blood tests, and they looked like I had a secondary infection because the white blood cells were up. And then what happened after that, I came right again. And the doctor I saw, a GP, they were really on my case saying, you should really get more blood tests. And I said, yeah, I'm fine, don't worry about it. Anyway, I got these blood tests and it came back, I was positive for chronic myeloid leukemia. And I was very, very lucky because I got the early stages of it. So in 2002, I had a new drug out, which was called Gleevec. And that drug pretty much, I've been on it since 2002 right up to 2018, pretty much
Wow.
kept me alive. It was called a miracle drug because before that they actually had no medication at all, and it was either a bone marrow transplant, which could be really
Oh, my God.
quite tricky. It was a bit scary. But they call it a miracle pill, and it's got a 90% success rate. So I've been on this drug for all this time, 17 years or 16 years, something like that. And I've been really conscious about my lifestyle. Don't drink. I've turned into an exercise freak. And I think it's helped as well. But I've managed to come off the drug. So it's kind of been a cure. It's actually been a cure. So it's been a year this month I've been off the drug. So very fortunate.
Well, congratulations, man, because that's...
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, that's massive. Like what you're saying about changing your lifestyle, because even in this climate, we'll get to what's going on right now, but just a personal journey. So you said 2002, you were diagnosed with leukemia. How did that play with your head before you even engaged? So it's been 18 years now since you can say that you're cured from it, but how did that play with your head and your motivation to keep going?
The first few months were scary because I didn't know what was going on.
Of course.
And I wigged out. I totally wigged out. I was, shit.
Of course. That's only natural.
And I was worried about funny things. I'm going to lose my hair, and I'm gonna get fat, or am I going to not be able to have children, that sort of stuff, because this medication was quite new. But it's been amazing medication, and I pretty much have lived a really amazing life. After the first year, I still started getting my shit together and really put a lot of it into my music. I was playing guitar before that, and I was into music, and I was in covers bands. But it really just made me want to concentrate more on being like an artist as opposed to being a guitar player in a band, playing covers in a pub. And that caused a little bit of a rift with some of the people I was close with, because I'm just like you, Doug. We like to shred and improvise and stuff. And when you're playing April Sun in Cuba, they don't want to blistering alien mode in it or something, So it has been a real change, and it's actually been a blessing. It's been a blessing, really, because it's really made me change a lot of things. So
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So that was 18 years ago now with the diagnosis. So coping with leukemia and getting on with, doing gigs, is there risks that you need to be aware of? You can't cut yourself, or I don't know what do you need to be aware of?
Nothing really. Like I said, I feel a little bit of a fraud because some people have battles with cancer and they've got to go through a real rigmarole with chemotherapy and stuff, and even
Right.
some leukemia patients. I know someone who had it and actually died, but they had a more advanced, a more advanced form of it. But it's been taking this little pill for 18 years. Well, I can't remember, 16, 18, 17 years for so long. I got so used to it that when I came off it, that was kind of weird. I don't have to take this little medication. And if I travel overseas, I'd always have to declare it. I always have to have it in my pocket. I get stressed out and have enough of it on me. Now, it's just, I don't take it. And that was the biggest thing for me, really, was this little drug I was taking.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, nothing was changed. I could go to the gym. I could travel. I could exercise. I could pretty much have the same life. It's an amazing drug, and they actually have got different forms of it now too. So even better.
Yeah.
Apparently it's even better.
Because I know being in New Zealand, because what town are you again?
I'm in Auckland.
Auckland. Because I know you guys get a lot of stuff from the States that maybe we don't, right? Because you have different importing laws. Because there's a lot of medications and etc. that we just can't get. I'm not saying I'm an expert, but I just know that through people traveling.
I think you're right, because I know Australia's quite an advanced country, but I think we may have gotten the medication for that quicker than you guys did. I know Australia's got it. I think we may have just been a little bit earlier than you guys. We're having trouble with the melanoma drug. We're trying to get that for people who've got melanoma, and there's a big campaign going with that. And, trying to get people. So we don't have a drug for that.
Wow, that's amazing. So so let's talk about the music then. So how's your music career taken off?
Well, it's like this, isn't it? It's like take start and roll. Okay. So it's it has its highs and lows, and then sometimes you sort of wonder, is it a career or is it actually just mucking around? But I take it seriously, and I'm out there putting myself out there like lots of us are, trying to do our best to get noticed, trying to do our best to get our music out there. And I've had some highlights on the way. Won a contest in 2013 for Guitarist TV. It was cool, and got a little songwriting award. Nothing major, no Grammys and nothing like that. No freaking Grammys. Just that little writing award. And
hey, Doug Marsden.
Hey, Doug.
So if there's any questions also too, I actually should have said that. If there's any questions while we're doing our interview, please post them, and it's completely interactive. And Chris has an amazing story. If you've just joined us, we're about nearly 8 minutes in. Chris has recovered from leukemia and is an artist in his own right. And where did we meet? I think we met in the States.
Palm Springs, the States.
Palm Springs, California.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I always hear the Aussies, Aussies stick out. I go, that's a bloody Aussie over here. Because there's always about one or two Kiwis. There's a few Aussies, lots of Canadians, and heaps of Americans. And the Aussies stick. I always hear Aussie accent. we give each other shit all the time, as Kiwis.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of expected, really, isn't it? Yes.
We're like the little brother.
Right. And what kind of guitar are you playing now?
I've always been a Strat guy. Loving the Strats. I've had several American-made ones. I was a little bit of a snob, but I wasn't really into the cheaper ones. So I've already coughed up the American-made ones. But now, the Mexican-made stuff, the Japanese stuff's amazing. So I've always played Strats. I've had an Ingwe Malmsteen Strat. I sort of felt a bit bad because I wasn't into the signature guitar thing, so I sold that and bought another Strat. And I wish I hadn't now, because I'm really back into habit. I wish I had that. And I noticed that the Vi Cafe, there's a few of them. I thought, I wouldn't want one of those again. The big, the big brass nut end and the jumbo frets and the scallops. But I'm really into. I've sort of last year really starting to get into more shred stuff, and and I was just hearing an amazing story talking to Ernie from. The Fanfrit guitar company. What's his name? Did that company again?
E.T. Guitars. Yeah, he's. I was told he was in Melbourne, and I thought he was in Melbourne, but he's in New South Wales.
Oh, really?
Yeah, wrong state. Yeah, but anyway, details. So, but anyway, what were you saying? Fanfret, Strat?
Yeah, just hearing you talk about fanfrets and the changes you had in adjusting the playing with those. Well, I went to 24 frets from 21 to 22. That was a bit of a hurdle for me. I actually found changing 24 frets. It took me about 6 months really to get used to it. It sounds crazy because there's only a few more frets, but just on the fretboard, I found myself, getting lost sometimes. Oh, what's going on? But now that you're playing 24 frets with like a Charvel.
Yeah, let's have a look. Let's have a look.
Or like like your trusty Ibanez or something.
Oh, hang on. I'll just zoom in. Hang on. Hold it up. Hold it up. There we go. So what are we looking at here? What are we playing?
That's DK Pro Mod. DK Pro Mod 24. So it's a smaller sliced body than a normal Strat body dinky, and it's got like 24 frets. And like I said, that was a bit of a mental block for me before, but now I wouldn't go back. I love 24 frets.
Yeah. So do you? Yeah. And what other guitars there you've got in your little range?
I've got a few in cases. I'll show you my main workhorse for my recordings. I've used this a lot on my recordings. Is this 2007 Deluxe Fat Strat?
Oh wow! You got the tremor on that? You've set it up floating? It's got fine tuners on it.
Yeah, a little bit floating. It's a Floyd Rose design, but it came from Fender. It was a bit wasn't really sure what it was about, but it's actually really good. And so that's on most of my recordings, probably about 80% of my recordings. But just sort of moving away from it a bit. I'm starting to get into the normal shredder X thing. And this one here has been a lot of my stuff. This is an amazing guitar because I actually got it by accident. It was ordered from America for a guitarist and a real top guitarist in New Zealand. It's 1997 American Strat with Texas Special, so really, really good. That Stevie Ray Vaughan tone for the blues. And what happened was this guy ordered it, and then didn't want it, couldn't afford it or something, or maybe just changed his mind. And I was good friends with the manager of a rock shop, and he gave it to me at a real discounted price, and I bought it with my student loan.
So, is that a deluxe? Is it?
Yeah. And that's I've kept it. It's amazing. This has got hammered in the cover band days, and hasn't got any damage. It's got no damage. It's like it's been.
Oh wow!
I've dropped it. I don't know what lacquer they used in the late '90s or something, but I dropped it, and it's still like brand new.
There's a question there from Kelly there for you. Kelly is from New Zealand as well, I believe.
Oh, hey, Kelly. Hey, brother.
He's got a question. He says, does that deluxe got S1 switching?
Yeah, it has. So it's just in the little. I think they're still using it, aren't they, Fender, with their brand new Elite series or what they call it now.
Yeah. Wow. I really like the fine tuners there. Yeah, wow. Is that similar system to the oh wow, you just have to bring it in shot there, sorry.
Mate.
It's all right. I know you're from New Zealand, so it might take a little while. It's all good. Can't help myself. Aussie. Oi. Very good. Okay, what's the other guitars? So that's for Kelly there. He's got another question here.
Oh yeah, hey, Kelly.
Kelly says, so what do you think of the Fat Strat?
It's awesome. That, like I said, it was my workhorse for so long. Played all my recordings almost, and it's almost in everything. And what I could do with it has a humbucker on it. I don't know what the humbucker, a DH1 humbucker on it, and it's got Seranian noiseless pickups. So I could be quite really searing and shreddy on it, and then also back it off and play blues on it and with a single chords. I'm actually a single chord guy, really. I like single chords. My next guitar, I'm looking at some of the Charvels. I'm going to get more single chords on the first two positions and get a humbucker again. I find I use the neck pickup a lot, and I like single chords, and I like a fat humbucker for the bridge, and you get a nice searing lead sound.
But are you still just using stock humbuckers? Because I don't know if you can see I got a Fat Strat there.
Yeah, I've seen that before. I've seen you use that.
Yeah, I might just bring it down.
Yeah. What have you got me, Doug?
So with mine, this is going to be awkward using. So this has been hot rodded quite somewhat. I'll just zoom in.
Oh yeah.
So this one here, obviously, and for those people watching at home, this is what you must do if you have your guitars at home, is fix the strap to it. That is a must do.
Yeah.
If you're a recording guitarist, you can have a look. Oh, I can always tell if someone's played my guitars because they take the strap off. It's got to have the strap on because when you're recording, you don't want to break the flow. You got to keep the strap on. That sounds really wrong in many ways, but anyway. So my fat Strat. This is a Jeff Beck body. This is I've actually locked it down because I was so annoyed. Over the years. I love the deluxe hardware, but they just keep going out of tune. So I just locked this one down because I'm play quite aggressively. This is Seymour Duncan. I can't remember the name of that. But these two here, do you know Kinman pickups? Kinman?
No, I don't know.
Chris Kinman, he actually developed the first double stack single coil. So it's a humbucker in a hamburger style, not so much like this. These are the Woodstocks. The guy, his manager used to play in my band, so I had this all set up. And this one here is not a tone pot. This is actually a volume for the front pickup. So when I go to any other configuration, doesn't matter which one, I can actually roll the front pickup in. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, and the front pickup in, really fat attack. And this here is a kill switch. And I've just got to go and play in the States. I showed Tom Morello because he was jumping out of his seat.
I saw that video. It was great. It was great.
And he's actually got a three-way switch, mine's a two-way. So when he uses his is on, off, on. But mine's just on, off. So when I have to do tricks with it, I have to do this technique like this. And
That's cool.
Anyway, he just called me crazy, so it was cool. But anyway, that's my fat Strat. But it's funny, like with changing the guitars with my recording, it sort of brings out a different style of playing. So with the Strat, I have very, very aggressive right hand. But if I'm using my gem or whatever, the aggression's not so much there. It's more aggressive left hand, But actually, left hand's aggressive all day. But so, what are any other guitars you got there besides the Strat?
I've got a few in cases. I've got an Ibanez. Actually, I've actually got this Ibanez too. You might find this interesting.
Rob Rhodes is looking, and that's true. That's true, Rob. That's why I love my Strat. Having the neck on mod. Yeah, good.
Got this Smart in here.
Oh wow!
Which is there you go. Now that's been a bit of a workhorse too.
Yeah.
I played a lot of acoustics. Actually, if I play live, it's actually lately been a lot more acoustic stuff. As myself and me working with another artist called L.A. Thompson, I play guitar for her. So if you can see that, Doug, is that all right?
That's awesome, man.
And then this is not a majorly expensive modem. This is I think I got this in 2007. But it has this amazing gooseneck pickup on it. I can't even catch it.
It's a microphone. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can blend that with the piezo in here, and it gets a nice warm tone. And this guitar's gotten better for age. It sounds a lot better than it did brand new. And I mean, sometimes I used to do a little bit of flamenco with it, with weddings and stuff.
Crank it up, man. Do some flamenco if you can.
I'll do that. I'll be in it for.
It's
a great guitar.
Great guitar. Okay, cool. And any other guitars you got there in New Zealand?
I've got a few, but I don't know if you can see, but I've got a few in cases. I've got a Yamaha, an Ibanez acoustic. I won't try and move my computer around too much. But I have got this thing. I've got this thing here that you might be interested in. And there's a few cats who've got this as well. From the Vi Academy. I just thought I might show you this. I just buy that now. Where's he gone? He's off picture. So, at the very first Fly Academy, there's a lot of Steve Vai fans out there, and we went to the first Fly Academy, and the first one, they gave these very cheap, but quite cool, what are these called? Lebanese geos, are they?
Yeah, right.
And what happened was, we got them signed by some of the people there. This one's been signed by Steve Vai and Joe Satriani. I met Joe Satriani in Auckland, so I got them signed as well. But it's a real amazing story. One of the guys there, we all got these guitars. One of the guys at the first Fly Academy back in 2014, I forgot his name. He's a really lovely guy. I forgot his name anyway. He got his guitar, and he got all the campers. I think it's 120 people there. Got all us to sign it, and then he gave it to Steve Vai. He didn't keep it. He gave his one to Steve Vai. And if you look in Steve Vai's, is it called the Harmony Hut? His studio. You often see it there. You can see all the people's signature who went to the. And I was a bit cunning because I thought if I ever see that guitar, and Steve Vai was actually quite emotional. He got it. He said, "Oh my gosh, this is one of the best things I've ever been given." And when he got it, I was a bit cunning. I thought, I'm going to sign it right in the middle of the strings and the pickups. So if I ever see it on camera, I can see my signature. So every time I see it, I can see my name on it. But it's got 100 signatures on it, and they're all signed like that with gold and silver pens. So it's quite cool. So that's actually quite special to me, that guitar, because it's my first Fly Academy I went to, and I've only been to 2, but just I thought it was a really nice story watching them. I can't remember his name. He's a lovely American dude. And he got everyone to sign it, and he gave his to Steve. And Steve I've never seen Steve Vai so emotional. It was like, wow, got all teary about it. And it's in the studio. You often see it sit in the background. So,
oh wow, that's amazing.
That's pretty cool. So
he's a cool bloke. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
So the and about your recording. So I guess that's all the guitars, or unless you got a pedal board, is there any other tech?
I've got a few more guitars. But my main things lately, what I put out at the moment, I've got. do you want to talk about pedals and stuff?
Yeah, sure. Only, I don't want you to drop your iMac on the floor. So.
I know. Well, I'm not much of a pedal guy, really. To be honest, I don't use that much. I'm not a big effects guy. I've pretty much used for years. I've been using the Blues Driver, Boss pedal, a DS1 distortion, which we talked about a few weeks ago on your show. Some of you guys are talking about it, and a Crybaby one and the delay. That's been it really, and it hasn't changed. I've had those pedals forever, and I usually just put them in front of the amp and drive something high gain like a Marshall, or I've got a couple Marshalls, which I've got this one here. Well, in my cover band days, I used to. It's hard to say. I've got a Laney VC30 on the floor, which is a 40-watt valve, like a box AC30 sort of thing. And I used to use that a lot with just a few pedals on the board, and for playing gigs. So I'm not really a pedal guy, but I've just recently gone to the last couple of years gone to modeling a little bit. So you
gone to what? You gone to what? Sorry.
Modeling, Helix. I've gone to Helix and.
Yeah, right. You like the Helix?
Yeah, I use that. I use it for recording a lot. I use Helix Native, and I use it as my main interface now for recording into Logic. But I have used it live quite a bit when I get a bit lazy. So what would happen?
a bit lazy
because I love having high gain, and I've got this JMD head here, and that's 100 watts, which is half digital and half analog, and then I've got a JVM 205H, which is in my media room with all my CDs and DVDs and stuff. And sometimes I just interchange it, but this one's now deleted more. We don't use it anymore. So I would be taking this whole setup to play gigs, and it was just I was exhausted. I was taking this and I'll pack it up. I'm going to play a country gig. I played this country gig at this amazing theatre in Auckland called Gallishouse. Beautiful theatre. Lords played here and stuff. And I was just playing guitar for a band as a fill-in. It's actually a friend of mine, and I was playing. I learned all the songs. It was a country gig, and I bought this big 100-watt Marshall, and and the sound. the sound guy, yeah, was Spinal Tap, and the sound guy was used to play in Split Ends. Used to be.
Oh, no way, no way.
And he gave me shit about it. He was grumpy. He was grumpy as hell all night with me. And he said, well, once you turn up after so much, it's nothing anyway. It's all the same. Blah, blah, blah. And in the end, I was really quiet the whole night, and I just couldn't hear any sustain. And because that sound check, I was blowing the floor off. I think it sounded great, and I was wireless. So I went and had a listen down myself at the auditorium. Go, oh, this is going to be epic. And then in the end, I could barely hear myself on stage. So. And I just gotten this. I was quite excited about it. So, but yeah. But playing live lately, I've been using. If I do play electric guitar, or even acoustic, I'll use the Helix for acoustic a lot. But I've been playing electric. I've been using the cabs and the amps on that, and going straight into the PA. There's a venue in Auckland called Backbeat. It's an amazing venue, and it's owned by Backbeat. Backbeat. And it's owned by a music distributor called Rock Shop in New Zealand. And they've got this amazing setup. And Rock Shop has amazing gear. And so what I would do is I'd sometimes just bring my head and plug into their Marshall hand-wired cabinets and just use those. And that'd be great. And I wouldn't have to bring so much gear. Or sometimes I would, if I was feeling really energetic, I'd full cable method. And you take that and then go into the heads and bring the Helix as well. And that's when it sounds massive. It sounds so massive on stage. It sounds massive at front. But because I'm not the most technical guy, I've got to take a photograph of all the cabling with my phone. So if I have to pull it out now, I have to take a photo. So before I go to a gig, I have to take a photo of it and then do it. So that was getting tricky. So I just start taking the Helix.
Oh, at least you're honest. At least you're honest.
The Helix is amazing. The Helix sounds amazing. Let's modelers do front of house. You have this big arena type sound with nice reverb and delay. It sounds huge, but on stage you can get lost if you've got good monitoring. And I find sometimes I go, oh God, I can't hear myself. So I'm cocking my head out in front of the PA to hear myself like that. So
you just reminded me of what you were just saying about taking a photo of the tech, and so. When I was a young whippersnapper, I was in. There's a guy called Dave Stewart. So Dave, if you're watching, you might remember this. He took me out on the road. I was just a teenager, and they said, obviously roadieing with this band. It was Millionaires and Teddy Bears, and back in those days, it was covers circuit, but they used to tour with a little truck. So I went out there, go to help their sound guy, and I think his name was Ian. He was a great sound guy. Anyway, they said, can you go and get the mixing desk? And it was a 2-man lift. So the first thing I did, and I'll never ever do again, I was like, oh, here's a mixing desk. And here's a mixing desk here. Right, there's one there. So the first thing I did, and I might just try and hold this up. The first thing I did was this. I'm too scared to do it now on my own desk. It's like, someone sees it like this, you go, oh, I'm going to put it away. What's the first thing you do? I go, I'm going to grab them all. I'm going to start pulling them all down to 0. Right? And I went through the whole, I swept everything up here. I turned everything back to 12 o'clock to make it all look nice and neat. And these guys, they cracked it. Like the sound guy, he had a heart attack. I thought I was going to get bashed. But so lesson learned. Like, if you don't know why something is like that, don't touch it. And especially if you go into an in-house venue, before you touch anything, like maybe just plug it in and test it. Just test it, because someone else has already probably been in there and solved a lot of problems before you have a go. And anyway, I was just saying that was my anecdote story of don't touch what you don't know. So it was good. So here's a little banner I prepared earlier. So in New Zealand, the COVID effect. So can you maybe tell us about how this has affected the gigs, etc.?
Well, New Zealand's been shut down totally. And I actually, just a little sort of side note, I've actually found the live music scene in Auckland has kind of started dying for a while anyway. It's getting harder and harder to get music because people love to listen to a DJ and I'm finding you're finding less venues where they want, a guitarist and a singer. That's what I found. But Auckland has definitely shut down this COVID-19. I think by the sounds, we're actually getting on top of it. I think we're going to go up to level 3. Sorry, go back to level 3 from level 4 next week. I think our cases are getting fewer and fewer, which is really, really cool. But at the moment, yeah, there's just nothing. There's nothing going on. No bars.
So, what does level 4 mean in level 4 lockdown? What does that mean in New Zealand?
It means schools shut, cafes shut, bars shut, restaurants. Service stations, petrol stations are open, so are supermarkets. Schools are shut. I don't know if I said schools. But if we go to level 3, next week schools will be, I wouldn't be surprised teachers are back at school, but the kids aren't, something like that. But yeah, everything's shut down, Doug. Everything's shut down. But I heard Aussie's doing quite well too. You guys are doing pretty good in Australia, is that right?
Yeah, well, there's a lot to be debated. I saw something online. There's a bit of a protest thing happening in this. I know this is not in Australia, but in the States about going back to work. But, you're caught between a rock and a hard place, It's, I know, well, for me, yeah, I'll be going back to doing some kind of teaching online, I guess. But, yeah, all the pubs and clubs are shut. There's a massive online situation that's just popped up in the last 10 days. But new issues have popped up. i.e., like when you're doing your live stream at home, having noise issues, because now people are cranking it up at home, and the neighbours are getting pissed off. You're like, "What are you doing? Live streaming?"
So, my wife gets pissed off. I'll get pissed off. On the upstairs, banging on the ceiling.
Yeah, but it's funny, So I dare say, if anyone's listening, maybe if you get into home insulation, sound insulation, might be a good market to get into. But the other thing that I thought of yesterday when I had this chat with a few people is with this whole COVID effect in live streaming. Like, these kids have been doing live streaming for a long time, all on their video games. So, even though the live streaming gigs is relatively new, that we're sort of competing with a different audience. So, anyway, that's just my 2 cents. But yeah, I really hope, or maybe I should ask you about how do you go about keeping instrumental practice up, and are you singing your live act as well, or just guitar playing?
I do both. So sometimes I've got someone who looks out for me a lot and gets me work or occasional gig. I don't play that often live, but I play it, maybe once a month sort of thing, or once every 2 months, or maybe all of a sudden you're playing 3 times a month. But what happens, I've got someone gets me work, and sometimes I do a set with her. I'm playing acoustic and accompanying her. She does rhythm, I do a bit of lead, the little fiddly stuff. Sometimes I do background vocals. Sometimes I get a chance to do my own thing acoustically, and most of that's singing. And then sometimes I get, if I'm indulgent and I get the time to go to this amazing rock shop, I do a little acoustic thing, and then I do electric thing at the end. So, and it's there's a bit of singing and some instrumental stuff, and sometimes you're playing to 5 people, and sometimes you're playing to 50. It can change, and some people turn up and some people don't. So, but it's great fun. There's nothing like playing live, and it's as you know, Doug, it's a different skill than playing in your bedroom. It takes, everything sounds drier. The sound sounds different. Things aren't responding the way like they do at home. If you're using an amp, it can be different. That's why modeling's so good, because it can be the same all the time. Even that can be different though. If you're in an environment, can feel totally different. So, what was my point in that? I've gone on a tangent.
That's all right. Yeah, just playing live.
Playing live. It's another skill, and I actually think it's probably a little bit of a dying art. And I find have my chops at home, it's all really good. But when I go to do it live, it takes another thing, and you've got to practice standing up as opposed to sitting on your chair. And when I get out there, sometimes I'm nailing this at home. It's going to be freaking awesome, and then I can't nail it on the night, and you go, why is that not happening? So, and when you're playing live too, you'll know. And what I love about you, Doug, is your energy. You're a man of my own heart. You go up there with all or nothing. They do. I love that. I freaking love that. I love that because, and when you're excited, you're sort of like this, aren't you? And you're not locked in as much sometimes, and the adrenaline gets in, and it's a different skill, and people are responding. It gets you excited. Oh shit, I'm being really cool now. Oh no, fuck that up. You know? So it's I really think it's a bit of a dying art playing live. It is in New Zealand. There's not there's a cool guitarist I can think of. His name's Cara Gordon. He plays live a lot. And there's a few others and playing cover bands. There's not that many, and we've only got 5 million people in New Zealand, and Auckland's about almost 2 million. There's not that much live music happening anymore. And that's what I mean. At least I'm missing out on it. There's a lot of cover stuff, probably just cover band stuff, and that's kind of I've done my time in that. I've lost my interest there a bit.
Yep.
So,
what about noise restrictions? Are you guys subject to the dB limits in New Zealand?
You mean at home or out live?
Oh well. Since we're in lockdown at home, I think there'll be dB limit meters coming around at home.
Yeah, I've got the best neighbours, eh? I've got the best neighbours, eh?
But I mean, out at venues in New Zealand, is everything governed by a noise restriction?
I think probably is. Yeah, I mean, when I've seen big international acts, I remember seeing Live in Colour once actually, and I saw him in a place called Power Station. And he's amazing. He's a great guy, and he was really getting into it, and the band was really getting into it. And I saw a guy come across with a piece of paper saying, "Go like this. you gotta stop playing." And that was 11 o'clock, and they pretty much said, "Sorry, we've got to stop," and they walked off the stage. So there must be a restriction 11 o'clock, I think, in New Zealand. That's it. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and they're right in the middle of it.
Do you know this guy?
Grant Calkin. Now that sounds familiar. Grant.
No,
not. Hey, Grant.
Is he a New Zealand guitarist?
Grant Calkin. I might know him. I mean, everyone knows everyone in New Zealand. We're so little. we know everyone here. So,
have you done any tours in New Zealand?
Let me think. I played in Queenstown, which is in the South Island.
Yep.
I've done a show there. I haven't toured New Zealand as such, like gone around all the cities, but I've played in different cities. Played in Queenstown, played in Christchurch. I played in Tauranga.
I don't know where that is. It sounds nice.
Yeah, Queenstown's beautiful. You can get down Queenstown. I'm from the South Island. Queenstown's stunning if you can get there.
So he must be a talented guitar player. Grant Calkin. Plays session.
Oh wow, cool. Well, he's busy. He's really busy. Busier than me.
Well, we should. So about the island, I remember I went. So this is South Island. I did a tour with the Angel Oils Divinal show. So just a tribute show, and we flew in to, I think it was Christchurch. Anyway, my luggage was lost on the way over. So that was a bit of a drama. So I had no clothes for the first 48 hours. And lucky I wear black. But anyway, the first venue we got to, the sound guy had no idea, and the drummer that was playing in the band, he got upset like you would not believe. So I had to go upstairs and solve some technical issues. That was night number 1. And anyway, what's my point of the story is we drove to one town and we were going to drive, across the island to the other one. But because of the earthquakes, screwed all the roads up, we had to take, the town was like an hour and a half away. We had to take a 5-hour detour to go up to the north of the island and back around again. It was just insane. Yeah.
Jeez.
So my question is, from the South Island, have they fixed all the roads from the earthquake yet?
I think they have. That was at the top of the South Island, sort of around, the northern tip. I think so. I haven't been that part of the South Island for a while. I get to Queenstown quite a lot. I've just often for vacation or something. But I haven't been there for a while, that part of the South Island. But we've had a few earthquakes in New Zealand. We're sort of prone to earthquakes. So.
Yeah, what? Is that an actual issue, when you're doing gigs?
Not so much in Auckland. We don't seem to get them. And I've only felt one. That was in Christchurch, and I was down there for something. And I was like this. I was going, what the hell's going on? I wasn't playing music. I was just walking down the street. I was going, this, because they had the big plate, and then they had the aftershocks, and I just happened to be down there through the aftershocks. It's pretty scary. It's pretty trippy, and it kind of goes like this. It sort of goes like a wave. It's not like you feel like it's kind of like this, and you're kind of like you're seasick sort of thing.
Oh wow!
It starts off fast, and then it sort of goes like this for a while, and you're sort of going, oh my god. So
yeah, wow.
Wellington gets them pretty bad.
Yep. Wow. Okay, so let's talk about your art. Have you got any records there you can tell us about where you recorded?
Well, I do most of my recording here. I do my own mixing, and I use Logic. And I often send it to someone in the States to get mastered, and they do it for me. And I've just had major issues with something I did. I did something major wrong with my mix, and I sent the file. And anyway, it's complicated. It's taken me 2 weeks to get it right, and they sent me a little masters, and I paid for that. And then so I do all my tracking here, do my recording. I do all instruments. Oh, yeah, they are, mate. Yeah. Jason McNamara, that's something there.
Yeah, he's in Tokyo, so in Japan. Aussie guy.
Oh, he would know. He would know. Oh, he's very with Eddie Van Halen in this picture. It's pretty cool.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, sorry, you were saying, so you do all the recording and mixing at home and you outsource for mastering?
Yeah, I do all the instrumentation here. I don't do drums. I don't do the drums, but yeah, and then I do a lot of my own artwork. I'm quite handy with Photoshop, and sometimes I get a good friend to do it, and then we sometimes do it together. I've also got another good friend who helps me write lyrics too, so it's quite good having a buddy to throw lyrics off. He helps me with some lyrics. But this last track I've just had done called Synchronicity, I've been throwing it on social media with the artwork and saying, you know, this is my new single, check it out. I've been getting little teasers of the artwork. And what's happened is I sent to my distributor and they said it's got third-party images. So there's some images in there which they shouldn't have been using. I don't even think. So yeah, I've got to go back to the drawing board with the artwork for that. And to me, part of the artwork is part of the brand. And I find that stuff really important. So I try to make things look kind of cool. And yeah, I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board, which means my song, I can't release it yet. So, and I'm quite proud of this number. It's called Synchronicity, and it came to me really easy. It doesn't always come that way, as you probably know. Sometimes it's a bit of a battle to get songs out and tracks, but this thing just popped in my head. And I had a loose version of it, just with bass and drums, and I even played it live last year because I'm so happy with it. I thought this is gonna be great live if I get to play it. And now that I've recorded it, I've made it way trickier. So if I was going to play it live now, it'd be a bit tricky to have to learn it. But
right.
Yeah,
sorry to interrupt. I've got a question from Bruce Whalen. For some reason, I'm not getting the feed on my thing here, but he says, do you find a lot of feedback with the mic pickup? Sorry, that was about your acoustic guitar before, but we can get back to that.
Yeah, you've got to be careful. Sometimes you do. It's got underneath, it's got a, what do you call it? It's got a phase button. So depending what kind of style you're playing a bit more finger style, or you're playing a little bit more of a strumming thing, you can change it, the phase it. Now, you get into territory which I'm not the best person to explain that, but I know by pushing this button, it changes things. It makes things a bit quieter. Right. You can get a little bit of feedback on it if you get too close to monitors.
Yeah. Well, with mine, I use a feedback. It's called a feedback buster. It's just a big rubber grommet that goes inside the sound hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because I'm my mate and I absolutely belt it. But you know, it's been holding up. You know.
What's really cool about the little gooseneck microphone is it's movable. So you can move instead of using the EQ, you can put it towards the E string, the little E string, or move it up to the top E string and get more bass. So often when I'm playing, I put my hand and just tweak it, and it's been a real cool part of it. Oh, I'm going to need a little treble here. I want to alternate pick a little bit quicker, so I want it to pick up more.
Right.
And then if I want a bit more bass, I just move it up. So it's been, and I don't know if Martin really do that anymore because my guitar's quite old, but it can feedback, but if you have a good sound check and you sort of work out where not to stand and stuff, you're fine.
Yeah, and I know Maton have an AP5 Pro, I think it's called. They're this is Maton. I know it's a different guitar, but it has a similar system that you can actually move the mic around. I think I really like what you said. Instead of going straight for the EQ, maybe move the mic if you're using it. If I had, well, I think I do have that system because on my Maton I've been through about 3 different pickup systems. Would you believe?
Oh, yeah.
I just wear them out. Oh, my guitar's been around Australia like 3 times. It's just thousands and thousands of gigs over the years, but it's still holding together.
Do they use Fishman? They use Fishman, Maton? They use Fishman.
I should actually know. I just use, it's just the Maton name brand, what it's made for. AP5 Pro system, I think I've got in there right now. Yeah. But sorry, we're getting off track. But anyhow, that was for Bruce. Sorry, Bruce.
Good question. Good question.
Yeah, great question. The getting back to your art, do you have any art that we can have a look at and see what's going on?
I've got a little CD here. It's actually an EP. So that's a photo of me stuck in my cheeks.
Yeah, let me have a look. Yeah.
and there we go. And like I do all my own art and do my own photography and stuff. And
wow.
Oh, sorry, I'm lying. I don't do it all. I do some of it. I get them in. I have to some stuff. It gets a bit tricky for me, so I've got to get someone else to do it. And I've got a good friend who's really good at that sort of thing. And and all my stuff's on iTunes, Spotify, and I always try to have good, strong visual images with it that sort of represent the song and the music of it.
So how do we find it on Spotify?
I suppose Chris Barclay. Just type Chris Barclay on there and Spotify. Yeah, Applemusic, all those. I mean, it's like they got to put your shit out there. So
go for it. Yeah, and do you have any YouTube presence or anything like that?
Yeah, just if you put Chris Barclay in there too, I can't remember what the YouTube handle is, but yeah.
Right.
My YouTube games, it could be stronger. I need to get back in that a bit more. Yeah.
So, I mean, what other ideas are you going to do now that you're in lockdown? Are you just going to keep working on your chops?
Yeah, and I've been inspired by everyone, including yourself, on these live streams. So I'm planning on doing some singing.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I've been inspired. So I'm going to do some acoustic stuff, playing live and singing some older tunes, which I've got to try and learn again because I've forgotten them. I'm in shock with lyrics. I forget words all the time on songs. So I'm going to do a bit of that, and I'm going to do a bit more shreddy stuff. Talk about gear, Might try and pair up with a few people and do that. And
we'll have to do it.
Goes. And hook up you.
Yeah, we'll have to do a collab, mate. Send me a track and we'll shred on it.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And with making the art as an original artist, do you have a distinct timeline that you set out from the get-go? Say, okay, cool, this whole project, I'm going to get it done in 3 months, or maybe 6 months, write the songs, mix the songs, master the songs, make the product, physically make the product or name the songs. Just what does that process look like for you?
Well, I wish I had more structure. That would be great because I don't really. I'm a really good starter. And then I'm not a very good finisher. And what happens is I've got shitloads of ideas on the computer which I need to get finished. I've got another track that's getting close to being finished, but I take ages to get stuff done. And I do so many takes of the same thing to get it right. And then sometimes you fluke it and that's what I'm keeping, So, but there's no structure. I need to actually probably be a bit more structured and work on. This is the time frame I give myself. I gave myself a time frame of this song for getting it mastered and mixed and stuff, and it just I just fallen.
Yeah.
And I tend to do things in songs. I don't do albums. I tend to do a single, get it finished, or maybe have 2 concurrently going at the same time. But I tend to I don't know if that's my poor multitasking, but I have to sort of finish.
So with a song idea, what comes first? The actual name of it, the idea of it, or do you have a riff first? Like what comes first?
Sometimes the riff. Sometimes, I remember being in New York, walking around Manhattan, and I heard this little sort of major arpeggio going through my head. And I was walking around, and I pictured these buildings. I was walking around, and I thought that's going to be my hook to my new song. And this happened in New York, and I had my MacBook, and I had a guitar with me at the time, and I just, because I was going to one of those Vibe academies, and I just recorded the idea, and then 2 years later it became a track of mine called New York I'm on Fire. And sometimes it happens like that. Sometimes it's it's a riff. Sometimes it's a chord progression. There's one track I wrote called, and a lot of my stuff references America. I'm obsessed with America. And there's a track, I just love Americans, and I love the States. And I wrote a track about, I went to that September 11 museum. And that blew me away and inspired me to write this neoclassical piece.
Ground Zero.
Yeah. That was a mind blow. And I had all these creative ideas that came back, and they came out into 2 songs about New York City. One's an instrumental, and one was a song. And the instrumental was a neoclassical piece, and I thought I was blazing on it. I thought, man, this sounds so freaking awesome. I'm playing it. And what it sounded like was I was trying to sound like Ingmar Malmsteen, and it just sounded too much. So what I did was I simplified it when I recorded it, and it kept more of the melody, and it seemed more intense, and it sounded more melodic. And then every time I hear it back now, I think, I wish I kept the other version. It's pretty shreddy anyway, but I really went to town on it, and I just started going, oh my God, that's just too much. People are going to think I'm a douchebag. So I took it back, and it's just a bit more melodic and stuff. And then every time I hear it go, yeah, it sounds good, but I think, oh, I wish I'd kept that version of this insane arpeggios going up and down. There's a few in there anyway, but it took away from the song and the feeling, because it was quite emotional. And it's
okay.
Yeah,
I think that's a good idea. So when you label your projects, I used to label by lettered, like ABC song 1, ABC song 2. I used to do that, but now it's a date because like I can't remember when ABC was done. I was like, oh, hang on, I think that's how I have to catalog. So if I'm doing a remix or whatever. Yeah. I use the date. I know this seems so generic, very, very cliche, but if I don't use the date, it's confusing. It's really confusing.
So how long would it take you? How long to get a track done? What sort of time frame can you
I did this record.
Yeah. It's cool. Cool art.
Yeah.
Cool artwork.
Yeah. Andrew Willis did that shot, and so it's called Post Traumatic Express, and you can get on iTunes and all and Spotify. So this was the byproduct of doing my composition in composition honors at university. So I used different techniques to actually make this record. I didn't sit down and just whatever comes to you. I actually, in short, the short version, I wrote an autoethnographic analysis.
Yeah, and
converted that into 5 stages, because it's about the 5 stages of grief. And then I used concepts, and this is really deep now, but I'll just tell you straight, this is what it's actually called. Prosody, mandrigalism, and Mickey Mousing. And what that means in English, prosody was how I used it, was turning what I heard from my experience into sound. So if someone said, I never ever want to know, I would lift the rhythm of that. Never ever want to know. Da 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 da. And then in the melody, I would never ever want to know. Like, so, yeah. And how that also tied in was I looked at visuals, and quite graphically, I would look at stuff that you probably shouldn't be looking at, and converted that into music of some descript. And mandrigalism is turning something you see into sound. So an example would be stairs. How do you turn stairs into sound? Dun, 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 dun. Right? So that would represent the thing. And now Mickey Mousing, it sounds out there, but it was coined by Mr. Walt Disney. how Mickey Mousing was born. This concept of writing music using something called Mickey Mousing was when Mickey was in the cartoon and he fell. Let's say he fell downstairs. The kinesthetic movement wrote the music. So the movement would be bop da 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 da, and so there would be bop da da bum bum bum. You know, like the drawing or the movement wrote the music, and that's why it's called Mickey Mousing. So this record, there's some strange things on there, but
Cool.
I've never written a record like it before. You know, like I've never written a record to mimic something like that. So the opening riff on it, well, the opening noises are sirens, and it may sound disconnected, but it's like a movie soundtrack, really. So it's about all the police cars coming onto the scene of the situation. So yeah, and then probably the coolest thing, this locomotive is called a Big Boy in America. It's an American locomotive. I know you like American stuff. So that's called a Big Boy, and then right at the end of my record is a sample of Big Ben. You know, dun 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 dun. So my concept is to be a big boy, to deal with your grief. You get interrupted by reality, which is Big Ben, called time, right? So my point is, how can you be a big boy if you get interrupted by Big Ben and process grief? Well, my point is you probably never get over it. That's my whole point. It's pretty deep.
Oh, it's very deep. It's cool, though. Very cool.
So Mr. Steve Vai, his producer, Greg Worth, is an amazing guy. He mastered my record, and I'm just blown away.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What an honor. Wow.
Yeah. I'm still blown away. So I'm working on some other really, really deep stuff, but that's just the kind of person I am. It's very deep.
I'm going to listen. I'm going to listen to that. I'm going to listen because mental illness is a big topic here in New Zealand. It's a big. Before this COVID-19 thing came, mental illness was the thing that we're trying to deal with.
Right.
We have quite a high suicide rate in New Zealand.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm myself. I think I deal with things pretty well, but some people in New Zealand are struggling with it, and I'm gonna check that out. That record.
Yeah, man. Thank you. And track number 2 starts off with just behind the bridge. So when I was standing at the scene with the police coming, I could hear this wind chime.
Yeah.
So I transcribed the wind chime.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's track 2. That's about the 5 stages of grief. Well, number 1 is anger. Sorry, denial. I should know this back to front. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and then acceptance. So track number 2 is anger, and it's about internal anger. And it's pretty deep, and it's a very Alan Holdsworth melody.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's in odd time, and it's about internal angst. So not external, but just, that little voice in your head, like, what the hell? Yeah. And then track number 3, sorry, we should be talking about your record, not mine.
No. First name, dude.
Track number 3 actually went to number 13 in the Indian iTunes charts.
Sure.
So it's got all like Indian fancy scales in there, which is quite bizarre because I've never been to India and I've never advertised in India. So that was cool. That was all organic. So yeah, rock and roll. Yeah. So sorry.
Oh yeah. So you cross over a lot of genres in there, Doug. You sort of go fusion-y, metal-y, rock.
Yeah, it's everything. Even jazz, like the last track called Acceptance, which is ax meaning guitar, and sept is 7 days of the week, 7 colors in the rainbow, 7 chakras, whatever you're into.
That's right up my alley. Chakras.
And well, I'm into that stuff as well. So there's little groupings. So in track 3, there's little rhythmic groupings that represent to the heart chakra. So the heart chakra has 4, like it's chakra number 4, right? So you hear like So that happens just before the B section, which is piercing to the heart, right? And anyway, track number 5 is pretty deep as well. So it's about your conscious mind, your subconscious mind connecting with an all-knowing being, power, whatever that is. So blues, so I was pushing the concept of the blues here, The blues is call and response. But in my concept, it's three. There's three conversations, like three melodic phrases. It's really deep. It's really deep. As I said, I did like a university. Not that means anything, but I'm just saying that's what I meant from it, you know. So, but yeah, I'd love to hear your feedback from it, man. If you haven't checked it out.
Well, you know, it sounds really deep, and I've you know, I've sort of been on a journey of that sort of, and that's what happened with my health, I think, too. The meditation and you know, healing and vibrations and chakras, and so I'll be interested to get. You probably can meditate to it.
Yeah, well, maybe not the whole record, but yeah, absolutely. But if you are going to listen to the record, if anyone else is listening, if you do listen to my record, it's a concept record. So therefore, you need to get a glass of wine. You need to sit down for 25 minutes because I'm into numerology. But it's a body of work that makes sense in its entirety. So you need to listen and go through all the stages. And it'll be interesting if you listen with an open mind about how it makes you move and feel. Anyway, so my point of doing this whole exercise about writing music like this was really about getting the listener to move, like be moved, if that makes sense. Yeah,
that's cool.
It's a journey. So
you know, so is so is.
But in my case, it's not a 3-minute expedition. You need to saddle up for a little while. You know,
you sit back, put your headphones on, and sit back like this in your chair and just soak it in. It'd be awesome. It'd be awesome. I'm going to check it out. I'll have this on iTunes. Are you on iTunes?
Yeah, in Spotify, it's all there. Yeah, so it's about grief, the 5 stages of grief, and about losing. Because I don't think I've told you about this. Nice. So I lost my sister. So it's about losing my sister and dealing with that, which is pretty deep. Yeah. So. Yeah, rock and roll. Anyway, we should talk about your music. So what about any other music coming up?
Well, I've got this track Synchronicity coming out, which is, you know, it's an instrumental piece which just came to me, and a little bit inspired by Dream Theater, a little bit inspired by there's a few runs on there that I've had John Petrucci in my head, and I'm quite new to John Petrucci and Dream Theater. I've sort of been, you know, Vai and Satriani and anyway, but I've been listening to a lot of Dream Theater, and he definitely had an influence on my playing a little bit, just the way my phrasing, I suppose. My phrasing was like so that's coming. When it's coming out, all my advertising says April. It's embarrassing because I've got this freaking artwork change. And there's a song called Ride the Light, which is another instrumental. I haven't done a song with vocals for a few years. So that's going to be another instrumental. And then after that, I've got this cool sort of thing that's been kind of inspired by Richie Kotzen's music. I've been listening to him a lot. So
he's a legend, yeah. Oh, wow.
What a gift that guy got, man. He is the holy trinity: the singing, the playing, and the commercial success as well. You know, what a legend.
I like that. I'm going to steal that. That's good.
I mean, John Mayer's like that as well. You know, if you like John Mayer, I can see. I mean, he's really big. He's got the guitar playing, and he's got the songwriting. But I think John Mayer would be the first person to say his voice is okay, and he's got a good voice. Richie Kotzen, it sounds like Chris Cornell, who can shred, and I've been inspired by some of his playing for this other track. I've got this riff for it, which is, I think I've got to build around it. So it's a lot of double stops and a lot of sort of thing, and a bit more funky sort of playing. So I've had to go back to a Strat for that. I've put the Charbel down for that because I need that single coil, slightly driven sound. So, but that's really it in the cards until something comes up. I'm finishing. I'm meant to be working on a track for someone else, doing some guitar for someone. My friend Ellie Thompson, she's got a track, and I haven't got to it. Haven't got to it because what was real funny is I had everything I touch at the moment turns to shit. Like I'm attracting this at the moment. I'm big on the law of attraction. Everything I touch blows up. So I've blown up an interface. I've blown up a mixer. I've borrowed this one. I don't know if you can see. It's hard to see. I borrowed this massive mixer. I can't show you. Yeah, he is cool. Richard Kotzman is
very cool.
I've never seen him live. He goes to Australia a lot, eh? He goes to Aussie a lot. He doesn't come to New Zealand. But you know, yeah, you always say everything I touch is blowing up on me. And you can't buy anything. You know, you can't get anything. So I found this Nexus, and I broke lockdown rules a little bit. I went to this place and got it from my wife's, from work, and I grabbed it, and I've used it before, and it's doing my job. It's a bit noisy, it buzzes a bit, but so I can do some stuff at home. And yeah, you can't buy you can't buy first world problem, mate. First world problem.
You can't buy anything.
I can't buy anything to put my jack in.
So maybe just wrapping up then, if we last question is any advice to people up and coming who are, making some tunes and they want to be their own artist? Any advice for that?
Yeah, anyone got any advice from me? I'm still learning as I go. One thing I can say is you've got to follow your dreams and take a punt, I think. And I haven't always done that, eh? There's been a few opportunities, and I have not chased them because there's a bit of fear and impracticality. One's leaving some of my income here at home, and I'm exposed to a lot of what I'm trying to say, a lot of financial dependence on other things as well. So music doesn't cut as well as the money. It's harder to make money out of music. So I have other streams of income which take my time away from that. So, but the thing I would tell myself, a younger self, is when those opportunities came up, I probably should have jumped on them before I got too committed into other things. And I've got a very supportive wife who let me do anything. She'll let me go, and we've got this deal between us that if something come up, we've got a plan. Whether it be playing for someone else or something takes off for me, this is what we'll do. But that'd be my advice to me, a younger version of myself, say Chris, because there's a few things like I could play the hard rock cafe circuit when I was young, and it's who someone I knew was going to could take me overseas. I had an opportunity to play in a group where I wasn't going to get paid much, but all my expenses were going to get paid for in my 20s, and I got a bit frightened and didn't do it, and that'd be my advice to myself. So
just have a go.
Yeah, and that's what I'm doing now still,
Yep, give it a go. All right. Well, thank you very much for your time in New Zealand there. I have no idea what time it is over there, but
thanks for having me, Milesy, brother. It's 9:50 p.m. What time is it over here? You're 2 hours behind, eh?
7:50. Yeah, right. I thought it was much larger than that. It's only 2 hours. Yeah, right. That's cool, man. But yeah, great to see you. But please, you want to just say your how do I get in contact with you or your
ChrisBarclay.net. ChrisBarclay.net. Hi, Tom. Hey, man. Love you, Americans. Keep it going, guys. You're going to get through it. You've got a big country of 330 million people trying to beat the virus, and I think you're doing well. Major respect.
And Jason from Japan's got a question. Who did you do the Hard Rock Cafe scene with?
I didn't do it. I had an opportunity to do it. So unfortunately, I had a friend called Drew who, he did it, and he had an opportunity. This is back in the late 90s.
There's another one for you.
I did it as well. Were you ever out with Chris Toll and the guys?
Do you know that guy?
No. How cool. Good on you, Jason. He's a good man.
He's a good dude. He's a very, very cool
dude. Is he an Aussie?
He's an Aussie in Japan, yeah. Who's big in Japan. Go figure. Anyway, you want to just quickly mention your socials again?
So it's ChrisBarclay.net on, ChrisBarclay.net on Instagram. I've got a Facebook page, Chris Barclay Music. Should be over at YouTube. I'm on YouTube. But if you get lost and you can't find anything, just go to ChrisBarclay.net and it'll take you there. So that's my website, ChrisBarclay.net. And I actually, here's a plug. I need a few more followers on Spotify. My Spotify game, you don't have to buy music, just follow me on Spotify. I've been getting help from a place called AVA Radio, who've been promoting some of my music, and they use Spotify. And I've noticed my Apple Music thing's I'm a big Apple guy, and I use Apple Music, and that's always been my go-to. But with Spotify, I think I need to work on that more. And I'm not sure which one's bigger. Which one's bigger, Spotify or Apple Music? What do you use, Dave? What's your go-to?
I'm on both. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, who knows, man? Everything's so dynamic. You know, before I think Netflix and Stan subscriptions just went through the roof. Disney's releasing its own thing over here. I'm not sure if it's done it over there, but good question, but I don't really know.
I know. I know Spotify do the playlist, a lot of playlists, and you can get the algorithm going a bit more if you get your music on the playlist, and so that's one of my little side projects. I'm trying to get that, manipulated a bit more. So.
Yeah, well, if you learn anything, please let me know. All right, man. We'll stay on the line, man, and stay on the line, and we'll sort you out again.
Thanks for indulging me, guys.
That's all right. Yeah, just stay on the line, though.
Yep.
Cool, man. See you next time. So thanks again for watching. This is Make Some Noise with Doug Dejong. So please subscribe if you're, hey, I pointed the right way today. It's only taken me 10 days to practice. So on YouTube, please subscribe. And please like Doug Dejong Music. And please go and like all of Chris Barclay stuff too. On Spotify, he needs some new friends. So see you again next time.